الكريم أما بعد. The Prophet ﷺ taught us not just to respect each other, but also to give each person the kind of respect that is suitable for them. For example, when dealing with someone who is older, then there's a different kind of respect that's shown to them. A person would speak more politely, a person would be more careful about the way they're sitting, standing, walking, interacting with that person. A person would not say anything that person would find offensive or rude. So there is a set of behaviors that we have to display to our elders. We don't act in front of our elders the way we act in front of our peers, people that are the same age as us. The Prophet ﷺ says in one hadith that مَنْ لَمْ يَرْحَمْ صَغِيرَنَا وَلَمْ يُوَقِّرْ كَبِيرَنَا وَلَمْ يُبَجِّلْ عَالِمِينَ فَلَيْسَ مِنَّا. A person who doesn't show sympathy, affection, kindness to those that are younger than them, and doesn't show respect to those that are older than them, and doesn't give reverence to those that have knowledge, those that are more knowledgeable, then that person is not from us. He's not one of us. What does that mean? The Prophet ﷺ does not want to consider him as one of his followers, because that's not the way that the Prophet ﷺ brought. Even he ﷺ would be very careful of these things when dealing with people of different ages. For example, when the father of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu came to accept Islam. Now Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was close to the age of the Prophet ﷺ, just slightly younger. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's father was quite old. When Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu brought his father, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh, why did you bring him? I would have come to him myself." So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, "No, you're the Prophet of Allah. It is more appropriate that we come to you." But the Prophet ﷺ was prepared to go and visit him, prepared to leave his masjid, to leave his place, and go and visit Abu Quhafa, his name was, in his own house, and have him take the shahada there. They didn't want to inconvenience him because of his age. So we don't look at elders the same way we look at our peers. On the other side, when the Prophet ﷺ dealt with those who were younger, he dealt with them very kindly, very gently, and he managed to win the hearts of these young people, these young Sahaba. And every one of them was prepared to do whatever it took to please Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Many stories like this. When Anas radiallahu anhu, once he was sent by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do some work, to run some errand. But being a young boy, when he went out into the street, he saw other boys playing, so he forgot. Then after some time, as he was playing, he felt a set of hands on his shoulders, and he looked behind, and it was the Prophet ﷺ. And that's when he realized that, oh, I was supposed to go and do something. He was terrified, he was so afraid. But when he saw the face of the Prophet ﷺ, he was just smiling at him. He had a big smile on his face looking at him. So right away he understood his mistake and went off and did that task. And many incidents like this. Once, the young Sahabi, Usama bin Zayd radiallahu anhu, he was running around. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had adopted his father, Zayd ibn Haritha. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam looked at Zayd as if he was a son. Now Zayd had a son by the name of Usama. So the Prophet ﷺ was very affectionate towards him, and Usama ibn Zayd radiallahu anhu would come running around the houses of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and playing and walking around. Once Usama radiallahu anhu, as he was running into the house, he tripped. He tripped at the doorstep and he injured his head. And it was the house of Aisha radiallahu anha. The Prophet ﷺ himself got up and tended to the wound of Usama radiallahu anhu. He cleaned it up, tidied it up, he cleaned him, and he said such affectionate words to him. On another occasion, little Usama running around, small kid, his nose was running. So the Prophet ﷺ said to one of his family members that, look, his nose is running, we should clean his face. But nobody wanted to grab the child and clean his face. The Prophet ﷺ went himself and took him and wiped his nose and cleaned his face and showed him that kind of love that like a mother would give to her child. So the Prophet ﷺ dealt with everyone according to what was required at that time. This is something that we have to develop in ourselves. There is a way, a manner with which we should behave around our teachers, around our elders, and around our parents. And there is a manner in which with which we should behave amongst ourselves. It's a manner of respect. And then there is a way that we deal with those that are younger than us. MashaAllah, there are some of you that are much older than others. There is a way to behave with each type of person that we come across in life. This is also a part of the teachings of Islam, also from the Sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us tawfiq to learn these teachings and to implement them. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi.